Hello, this is Jose with Setco. We're improving communities through entrepreneurship. And today I'm excited to talk to you about facing your fear. I tend to think as we start businesses and entrepreneurs, we take on a whole new set of fears. And I'd like to first define what fear is right out of the dictionary. It's an unpleasant emotion caused by a belief that someone or something is dangerous, likely to cause pain or threat. Our Our definition is fear is the wasteful thoughts you create from your mind or allow in your mind. And and I underlined allow because really we control our mind and what goes in there and what we tend to obsess about or think about. And some of the common things we fear as business owners and non-business owners is running out of money, divorce, criticism, letting go, poverty, greatness. I underline greatness because I had a student one time ask me, "What do you mean people fear greatness?" I tend to believe it is scary to realize how powerful we are and how much of a difference we can make in the world and in individuals' life. Fears. Tell people all the time, all of my fears have come true. All I have is my dreams. I'm gonna say that again. All of my fears have come true in my life. All I have is left to think about are my dreams. The second point I want to talk to you about is face your fears, face your fears, face your fears. And I will tell you, I have a PhD. I had a PhD in running from my fears. And let's talk about one of my business fears was running out of money. I thought about it day and night, no matter what my bills were or how much money I had in the bank account. I just obsessed about running out of money. It was on my mind from the time I woke up to the last thought that I went when I went to sleep. And how did this fear hurt me? I was constantly putting myself under pressure to get more done, to make things happen. And I passed that pressure onto my employees and my closest relationships. Also, I was making decisions to drive me to the point of running out of money because that's what I was thinking about subconsciously and consciously. So all my decisions, people didn't understand. Like I was making decisions out of fear, and sometimes people would look at me like, "Is this guy crazy?" But again, I was being driven by fear. What? Then I asked myself, what is the real root of this fear of running out of money? What is the real root of fear? What it stemmed from growing up in poverty and struggle. I mean, once you really struggle and you know that you wake up and you don't know if you're going to have a next meal or something's wrong in your home and you don't have the money to fix it, you get hopeless. And that's a very, very powerful feeling of helplessness. And you never want to go back to that. So you start to taste money for the first time. And you're like, I don't want to ever go back to that struggle. And for me, the root of fear of running out of money was, I didn't want to let people down. It stemmed from, thinking about my parents. They were hard on me at times, and I always wanted to make them proud. I always wanted them to love me. So letting people down, that was the real root fear of running out of money. And owning the business, and not being able to pay your employees and things of that nature. So, how did I face the fear? And I want to share my story with you. I believe you can face your fear two ways. You can face them head on, or the fear will be realized. It will face you head on, or you can take control of your fears. And what I mean by that is I went bankrupt in, I want to say, 2011. Matter of fact, this is my my filing right here, and I think about it, reflecting back, how much I feared of getting this point to this point. Fear of running out of money, fear of people treating me differently, fear of letting people down, fear of people talking about me, and the failure of all of this and running out of money. It eventually happened. And I'm going to tell you something. If if I had faced this fear instead of running from it and thinking about it and obsessing it a long time ago, I may have been in a different position. But I will tell you this: as one of my greatest fears have come true, all I have left in my dreams is not only did I survive bankruptcy, I learned from this very greatly. It wasn't when I was making the millions that I learned. Success came so quick. It was really in the failures that I've learned so much. And what I take from this as well is the the failure itself aligned me with some of the greatest people in the world. Walt Disney, some of our greatest visionaries that people from all over the world um, share their visions, have gone bankrupt, have failed in business. And I realized I align myself as I chase my visions with some of the best entrepreneurs in the world. How can you face your fears now? You know, the things that I do now facing my fears, I go through a Sedco fear worksheet and I work through my fears. And I actually wanted to share an example with you um, with our fears. So here's one. Here's a fear of here's one of our example. It's called Emotional You Example Fear Worksheet, and we can provide this for you. We also we're having workshops on fear. We have workshops, all kinds of workshops at Sedco, but fear of criticism. And I go through this worksheet here, and it says, how's this fear hurt you? Well, it affected my relationships, both personal and business. In my personal life, every time that my wife or a president of my company would share something with me, I immediately got onto the defensive. I would shut them down, and it they who people who really cared about me wanted to share valuable information, but I was closed off to them. What was the real fruit of the fear? As a child, I went in my early years in elementary. I went to a predominantly white school. I felt inferior. I felt sometimes as a child my parents were harsh with the criticism, and so I shut down, and I felt like a failure. So those are some of the deep root issues of why I didn't accept criticism so well, constructive criticism. And what do I what can I do to face this fear? I actually wrote through it. I said I need to understand that constructive criticism is a very healthy and growing and understanding areas of improvement in my life. I understand that if somebody does criticize me in a negative format, then I need to go into understanding mode. They're just passing their insecurities on to me, and and so yeah, so I faced that, and in some of the negative ways that I dealt with this fear, I would take it out on others. I was excessive eating, fighting or arguing, denial, ignoring it, poor decisions. One of the things that helped me with criticism is, I read, I talked to mentors, I worked out, I talked to a counselor. I did a lot of things to look at criticism. One of the amazing thing that transformation that's happened in my life, my greatest fear was criticism, is going out there and having people putting myself going out off the sideline onto the playing field and being criticized for people. Not only do I accept criticism, I even ask people, and I say, you know what, I really value your input. What are some things that you could see me improve on? A few years ago, I would have never asked that because it would have just cut me to the core when they started saying, hey, Jose, you need to do this. I like this, but you can improve in this manner. So I've come a long way with the fear of criticism. And, basically just writing through your fears, actually facing them, actually going right at them. So they're not constantly chasing you like a shadow. They're always behind you, just like a shadow. Fear is always behind you. I will tell you this: when you face your fears, there is just a release. I don't know of. It's like someone controls you, and there's a release. And hopefully you can see it here. You have two bodies of water. One you cannot see through, and the other one's crystal clear. And I always say, living life with fear, you can't make great decisions because your mind is clouded with fear. And like life, it just opens up for you the possibilities, the 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 creativity, your happiness. I mean, it just opens up, and there's a weight of pressure off of you when you face your fears. I'm no longer fearing and waking up thinking about everything that could go wrong and running out of this or running out of that. I wake up with the opportunities that the world's going to give me today. Some that I'm going after, and some that don't even know they're there. There's coming that day. And that's why it's important to face your fears. Because if you're running a business and fear is driving your everyday decision, you will have a disconnect with your employees, suppliers, and vendors because they're saying, where's these decisions coming from? And you will eventually go right to the direction of what you're fearing most. And that's important. I want to thank you again for facing your spending time with you with Setco today. I'm facing your fear. I thank you so much for your time, and we look forward to improving communities through entrepreneurship and supporting your dreams. And if you want to sign up for our Facing Your Fear workshop, just go to setcosupport.org, and you can select contact us, and just fill out your information and tell us what you want to sign up for a shop, and we'll get you going on this. So again, thank you so much for your time, and have a wonderful day.